Yes, hello, and welcome to A Celtic World, the YouTube channel and podcast made by Celtic fans all over the world, for Celtic fans all over the world. From Elgin to El Salvador, East Kilbride to East Timor, wherever you happen to be watching from, you're very much part of A Celtic World. And who's part of it tonight? We've got quite a spread of nations. Let's start in Australia with Stephen. What up, Steve-O?
Yes, Gav, how are we doing? How are we doing, Brian? How are we doing, Daniel? Just had a fairly tedious weekend, and I'm sure it's going to be a fairly tedious chat tonight. Looking forward to another few weeks of tediousness, if that's a word, before the end of the season. So feeling very tedious tonight.
Wow, the tedious count is off to a flyer there. That's 4 or 5 already. Someone who's never tedious is Dano in Korea. Dano and X-Man. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good, man. Had a pretty busy weekend. Pretty much sans tedium, I guess you would say. But yeah, good, man. Good. Unfortunately missed the league winning drink along or worldwide CSC on Saturday. Yeah. But yeah, all good, man. Everything's good.
And everything's good, Shay Brian. There's 2 dogs in the picture.
Yeah, I thought with X-Man, this is Abby. Thought she could be I'm gonna say a bitch for X-Man, but doesn't matter as long as there's a Celtic connection.
Good. Well, we've all got our dogs out.
Nice.
And that's not a euphemism.
No.
All right, so we're here to discuss obviously being champions. That's pretty awesome. How does it feel to be champions? Stephen, you're the one sporting the colours. Tell us about the emotions you went through at the weekend.
Yeah, look, I think it's always an emotional occasion, even though we were very much expecting it and probably were expecting to be celebrating a couple of weeks ago. But when you see the sort of players on the park and the outpouring of emotion after the game and everybody very, very happy. And there was a few people looked as if they were, in their first season at the club or maybe just struggling a bit to take it all in. There was some wholesome scenes with Casper Schmeichel, with Luke McCowan, guys that just winning their first title with Celtic. And it's just you never get tired of it. And I'm sure we'll touch on this a bit, but it never gets boring. It never gets old. And we should have been expecting the result that we got because that's how we normally clinch league titles. We normally batter some unsuspecting mob of clowns, and it's usually 5-0. So not surprised at the scoreline, and it was a really, really nice occasion.
Was great performance, great occasion. I did the drink along in Dano's absence, which was a lot of fun with Kaiser, as usual, and Shawnee Boy from Philadelphia joined us as well.
Yeah, so good, man.
It's good fun. I got a lot of grief for the way I was nibbling pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds. Apparently, that wasn't people's liking. Go ahead, Dano. Is that off kilter for the drink along?
Yeah. I usually snack at halftime. I know a lot of people. I forget what that disorder is called. Where you have like this extreme dislike or even a sickness for hearing the sound of eating. I've only experienced it once, and this was pretty recently. I was in a really high def theater watching the new Dune remake, and this guy, the villain in the movie, is eating this like super juicy, succulent bird or something for dinner, and it's just the sound was just right there, and it was completely 3D. I was like, oh man, I finally understand why people feel like that. But yeah, I don't know. I tend not to munch on things during the watch alongs.
Maybe we should move away from movies about some guy eating a succulent bird, whatever kind of movie that was. More onto, well, I guess we'll talk about the game, sure. We'll have a look through the pictures. What about celebrations from around the world? Or before we do that, actually, Just put up a couple of stills we have here to mark the occasion. This is quite a nice one there. Premiership titles along the top, Scottish Cup in the middle, League Cup along the bottom. Should be expecting another green circle to fill that one up. That's nice to see, isn't it, Brian?
Yeah, it's good to see St. Johnson getting represented there. So, yeah, it's a case of maybe must do better. Sounds like my report at school, must do better. No, it's fascinating. It's unbelievable. And as Stephen said, you never grow old. And regardless of all the Celtic DA stuff, it is difficult to win a league, but it's so rewarding. And looking back over the years, I thought to myself, I'll never see us win a league again until Harold Bratback and the beautiful Henrik Larsson put us out of our misery. But it's just a great thing. And Brendan said a great thing yesterday or the day before, that the Colin McGregor, James E, people have been around the block a few times, they've won it. Whereas the likes of Jeffrey Schlupp and Casper Schmeichel and a couple of other notables, Arnie Eagles and stuff, this is their first time winning anything, and it becomes addictive, and that's really positive for next season, But
Absolutely. What I was thinking was, imagine it was the other side that had just done this and was on course for a treble. How awful that would be, and how amazing how much their fans would be enjoying it. But it's just so far from their grasp. It's our reality almost every season, for God's sake. So you've got to really.
We don't
make it.
really have to. We don't really have to imagine that, because certainly three out of the four of us here are old enough to remember when that was a reality.
Sure.
When it was them that were racking up title after title. It was them that were racking up trebles, albeit it was built on a bit of financial chicanery from Sir David Murray, and it was all built in shifting sands, which eventually collapsed. But I don't remember. Maybe my mind's playing tricks on me, but I don't remember anybody accusing them of being tedious and boring when they were sweeping everything up in the 90s. And we weren't. A lot of those
seasons. It was bow down to the all-conquering heroes, wasn't it?
The gallant Knights of Rangers.
Yeah, a lot of those seasons we didn't even finish second. It was only at the back end of the 90s that we actually started finishing second quite regularly. So, yeah, I'm not having any of this crap that they're coming out with now, that it's boring and it's tedious and it's crap and we need to do something about it. I seen a tweet today from, I think it was a Dundee United fan actually, and they were saying, we used to have a duopoly in Scottish football, but it's turning into a monopoly. And we have to do something about it. We can't go on like this. And the gist of it was that Celtic are just too good for everyone, and they're going to have to do something to what he was saying was bring us back to the field, rather than any suggestion of improving the rest of them and bringing them closer to where we are. But none of that's our problem. We just need to keep doing what we're doing and keep racking up the wins.
Yep. Well, one thing that certainly isn't tedious is Glasgow, My Love. Are we all familiar with her?
Yeah.
Well, this is her the start of her intro video to celebrate the Celtic.
This is the day to celebrate. All right, troops. You know what happened yesterday? You know what happened? I, my fellow Celtic fans, you must be pure buzzing and happy. Celtic won the title again. Fourth in a row and 55th in club's great history. So hope you celebrated. My fellow Celtic fans, hope you celebrated the Celtic's title yesterday. And you're not too pissed or mad away.
What do you think of that accent, Dana?
I don't know. I mean, does she usually have the echo going like that? Yeah, I don't know.
Was there a big echo on your end, or maybe that was my fault? I'm not sure why that happened.
Yeah, there was in my end as well.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, man. Glaswegian accent, man. It's brilliant. Yeah, I haven't followed it before. Thanks for letting me know. I got to do that.
Let's go, my love. Not everyone's cup of tea, it seems. Monty, who's, if you can rely on one of our viewers to not enjoy something, it's usually Monty. It's quite upset.
True enough.
Oh, I'm sorry for the echo there. I didn't hear it my end. That sometimes happens when you play these things.
Yeah. But yeah, good, man. I mean, it seems kind of kitschy and overdone. Typical social media stuff, man.
What is her background? Is she putting that accent on, or is she?
No, I
I
think
thought
she's
there was-
Polish or something.
Polish, yeah, there's
Eastern
a
European.
Eastern. I was going to say Eastern European stroke Balkan, but you know what my geography's like. So she could, she could be anywhere from outer Mongolia to
Outer
Africa,
He's still
East
European
Timor.
stroke Mexican.
stroke Mexican.
Yes, Brian's definition of the word Balkans is very expansive. I think it's fair to say.
Right.
All right. Well, on the geographical note, how about we have a little look at some of the CSCs around the world supporting this? Here's Miami Celtic Supporters Club. You can all see that.
Yeah.
Is there any echo going on now?
Nope.
No.
Okay,
No,
good.
no.
There's Miami. Paul Johnson, CSC Monaghan. They went to Tannadice and they met some of the players in the Edinburgh airport. You can see the bottom right there. They met Adamida. Edinburgh airport? Did that mean the players, flew to Edinburgh? Is that normal?
Yeah, I don't get that.
That's not normal. Dundee's only like maybe a 2 hour bus journey from Glasgow. It's not that far.
Some of the players must have been flying on somewhere else.
Yeah, they must have been. I can't imagine they would fly. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah. Cayman Islands CSC. Can you imagine going to watch the matches in their club?
The Caymans,
Champions again.
Awesome.
There they are.
Thanks, Dodgers CSC.
Yeah. Austin Celtic Supporters Club. Giving it plenty.
Yeah.
Lone Star nearby, also in Texas.
Yeah.
6:30 a.m. kickoff.
Having it.
Proud Huddle CSE brand for the 55th time. She rests in paradise. What do you think about that pronoun usage?
She. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trophies are always she. They're always a female. Anything.
Are they?
Well,
you can pick up.
You can pick them up with both hands.
It's like a ship.
Abu Dhabi. Cracking out the bottle. So plenty of fans all around the world joining in the fun. There's a post from Coventry Emerald CSE. Do you see this? Would be capo, is he? Or a consigliere? What's the term, Stephen?
It's a capo. Yeah. So yeah, that one's been doing the round. I'm not sure he's very. There's a few health and safety breaches going on there, so I'm surprised they haven't dragged him down from there. But he looks as if he's having fun.
He certainly does. Detroit Celtic supporters. Looks like we've an updated look at this future Celtic kit. That's just another thing in passing. Is that a genuine new kit coming out, do you think?
I hope not.
Who knows? There's so many of these these AI fakes are getting made now. God only knows. The only thing we know for sure is we are getting a trefoil kit next year, which is reflective of our updated status as a Adidas elite club. So we'll get one of them. So I think everybody's just going to town with their photoshopping skills, making up kits. But I'm not too sure if that one's close to the mark.
You can see John Higgins's comment.
Yeah, that was good.
This was at the top of the page that I didn't show there. Yeah, that's now we've won 54 more titles than our rivals.
That was in a Paddy Power tweet as well. You can always rely on the Paddy Power boys to give it to the Huns, and they don't miss. They very seldom miss. And that was their tweet as well. Celtic win 55 titles. They're now 54 ahead of Rangers.
Yeah, Paddy Power don't seem to be too worried about getting business from that side of the city, do they?
No, I don't. And whenever you see one of their social posts, all underneath it, you have the Mankey mob all saying, "Well, that's me cancelling my account. That's me finished with Paddy Power." Well, if you're still with them after all this time, then I don't think you're going to cancel your account now because they've been giving it to Rangers for years.
I remember talking back in the day. Remember 12 years ago, Rangers were sponsored by McEwen's Lager, and there was a friend of mine, no big Vince. He brought up a case of we were drinking up the Cave Hill, and I remember shouting at him, going, "How can you drink that stuff? That's disgraceful. Anything that's associated with them, I wouldn't, that just wouldn't do any, Never liked Tennants, you know what I mean? Never liked McEwen's. Never will."
What about C.R. Smith?
No, I didn't buy a car from them, no. That's a big Roy one, isn't it? That's Roy Aiken.
Yeah, this is a centenary. This is a centenary year jersey.
Yeah.
This is actually an original one, and I'm happy to say it still fits me.
There you go, kid.
I was 19. I was 19 when I bought this jersey, so doing something all right.
Wow,
good man.
And actually, the C.R. Smith thing was both clubs were sponsored by them, and they were a double glazing firm for the west of Scotland. And the McEwen's Lager thing was really the first time that anybody had sponsored one of Celtic or Rangers separately. And again, it was seen as a two-finger salute to Celtic at the time, and then David Murray again rubbing it in our faces. So, Brian's quite correct. None of us touch a drop of McEwen's Lager back in the day, and it was piss anyway. So it wasn't a great sacrifice. But then, funny enough, a few years later down the road, we actually ended up getting sponsored by Tennants. So, so that worked out well.
And as Pac-Man says, last time he drank, there were pretty ladies on the Tennants cans. Do you remember that? Models in swimwear, just on the blatantly on the can. It's hilarious.
There's a girl kicking about Twitter called Karen Tennant's Lady, and she's one of them. She's a big Celtic fan actually, and she's one of them. But she's the same age as us now. She's knocking on a bit, so you wouldn't really want to see her on the side of a can. But that's her Twitter handle.
Brilliant.
Yeah, everyone talks about Guinness being our sponsor. When you see those Cork City tops, isn't it Cork City had Guinness as a sponsor?
Yeah.
QPR had Guinness as well, didn't they?
I think the Bows have got them as well now, haven't they? I noticed there's a new Bows kit out with Guinness across the front of it. Some sort of Dublin heritage kit they've got. They're not normally sponsored by Guinness, but this kit in particular is. It's really smart as well. It's all black. Brian and Gav would love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're dressed like pints of Guinness today. Interestingly enough, well, you can be the judge of that, but they've just started selling draft Guinness in cans here in Borneo, which I was very excited about, because that's a good Guinness, a draft Guinness in cans. Make a good fist of that.
Oh yeah,
it's as good as anything you'll get pulled at a pump in this town.
Yeah, I'm not to divert slightly, but I don't really buy all this stuff about Guinness is only good in Dublin or it's only good in Ireland. I've drank Guinness all over the world, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just a Philistine, and I can't really taste the difference. You get a nice pint of Guinness up the rocks in Sydney, which for me is as good as anything I've had down in the Temple Bar in Dublin. So, I'm not sure if that's just a load of marketing bollocks.
I did notice a little bit of a difference. I agree with you mainly, Stephen, but at the actual brewery, I noticed a difference. At the brewery, like from the tap right there, I noticed a bit of a difference, but yeah, generally, I mean, it's been great wherever I've had it. Here in Korea, back in Ireland, back in the States. It's a fabulous product.
Yeah. I mean, it's not good here, draft Guinness. I'm telling you. It
I
really
used
isn't.
to like Murphy's.
No,
Murphy's was a wee coffee tint off it. It wasn't as heavy as Guinness Murphy's, but there was I don't know, can't get it anywhere.
Yeah, you tend not to get Murphy's outside of Ireland, or I've never seen it. Certainly never seen it in Australia, and you get virtually everything here. You get Kilkenny's and Magners and all that sort of stuff, but you don't get any Murphy's. But I admit, I used to enjoy a pint of Murphy's back in the day.
If Guinness were on the top, of course, there'd be people looking into the family history and the way they treat the working class people of Dublin, and whether that's commensurate with the values of Celtic. But
yeah,
sure,
very unionist family as well.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
The day, the song, the Beatles song, "A Day in the Life." That was about the heir to Guinness being a bit pissed behind the wheel. I think. There we go. That bombshell.
I'll tell you what. I mean, the place I DJ'd at on Saturday night, they just got a new Guinness tap, and right when I walked in, I was like, "Pint of that, thanks." And it was excellent. It was the usual beauty.
Okay, so let's move on from the drink to the football, shall we? Let's talk about the game.
The what?
This is the first picture I've got saved, and it's 29 minutes, Stephen. Took us to 29 minutes before anything happened. Actually, that shouldn't be the first picture, but it is around that time. What was going on in the game that nothing occurred prior to that?
Oh, it was just a bit scratchy, really. It was a bit of they had a lot of possession in our half, and whereas they weren't really troubling us, but they were taking a lot of long throw-ins. Any throw-in they got inside our half, and this is a signature move of the majority of Scottish Premier League teams now, is you get a guy who can throw the ball really far, and as soon as you get a throw-in inside our half, they just launch it into our box. Sinisalo came out and dealt with a few, punched a few away. Scales was quite resolute in heading him away, but we weren't really under any pressure as such. But it just took us a little bit of while to get the ball in the deck and start passing it around a bit, and it did really take the goal going in for us to hit our straps. But once that did go in, there was only one team in it really.
Well, it came from this prodigious leap by John Scales. John Scales?
Liam.
John Scales.
Liam Scales.
John Scales.
John Scales, Wimbledon legend.
Leomaldo Scolacci. Come on, man.
Liam Scales got up brilliantly and nutted it down there to the back post where, Jota was going for it, but as you can see there, didn't get the decisive touch, came off the defender. Now, Dano, on a recent show, we were talking about penetrative passes from our central defender, Liam Scales. And is he the only central defender we can have that's capable of really doing that? You could ask the same question about this, I mean, you're unlikely to see the others getting this kind of header.
Yeah. I love Scales, man. I love Scales. I mean, had his bad moments in the Champions League. Definitely isn't there as far as playing against that type of competition, but Scales has been amazing. And yeah, the difference when he's out there versus Trusty, I mean, when it's Trusty and Carter Vickers on the back line, all they're doing is passing it to each other or passing it to the other backs. That's all they're doing. I mean, Scales plays with bravery, man, and he can lay in a pass quite well. I'm a huge fan of, as Kaiser and I call him, Leomaldo Scolacci. So, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the difference is night and day between Scales or Trusty being out there. He plays with bravery, man. He plays with some edge.
Does.
Yeah.
Puts his balls on the line a lot more. He's prepared to take chances.
Yes.
Sinisalo, you mentioned there, Stephen. This is 37 minutes. This is the start of a series that ended up in a goal. a quick distribution here by Sinisalo. He wastes no time in getting it out. And then this is the Engels turn and pass. Absolutely gorgeous. Out to Maeda, sprays a lovely angled pass. And it ends up with Kuhn on the end of it. You enjoyed that goal, Stephen?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, that's one thing. You know, there's been a little bit of debate about Engels and about what he brings to the team and what he doesn't. But one thing you can't question is his range of passing is absolutely first class. And that cross-field diagonal is one of his trademark passes, and he's absolutely brilliant at it. And it was a great piece of play by him. A great cross to the back post from Maeda. And a brilliant finish from Nicholas Kuhn. So another great goal, and this was us starting to hit top gear. But yeah, I think Engels had a good game. I think he sort of bounced back a bit after having a couple of sort of ordinary games, like many of the other players in the team. But I think he's found form again, and that bodes well for the games up to the end of the season.
Yeah, he was very good in this game, and that was a beautiful pass. And there was some suggestion in the WhatsApp group that it would be difficult for me to concede that, as if I've got an opinion that doesn't change when the evidence changes, which is clearly not the case. I don't just pick a position and then stick to it regardless of the mounting evidence that other people might. So yeah, happy to give him credit. He played really well. That was beautiful, and nobody plays a long pass like him. He's the king of that long diagonal, really. And the other ball he played in, that sort of the curving one that sort of swept in front of the strikers and the defenders, which he played, I think, earlier in the game. He's brilliant at that. Got to give him credit. So Nicholas Kuhn getting on the score sheet, Brian?
Yeah, good to see it. A couple of people were saying about his celebration, something like I don't know. But hey, you know, he's our asset, he's our player. So let's get behind him, and with Jota being injured now, I think he'll be nailed on for the cup final. It'd be good to get him back to where he was, because he was the first part of the season. He was fantastic, and hopefully, winning the title, he'll realise that. Hopefully, he's got a home here, and we'll not need to worry about replacing him. But whatever it'll be. Do you know what I mean? That the team need to be refreshed occasionally. But great to see him back on the score sheet.
Yeah, great to see him back on the score sheet.
I think he's quite entitled
this season. Go ahead.
I think he's quite entitled to have a bit of a nibble back at the people who've been slagging him off, because you know some of the abuse he was getting was way off the charts. I don't think he was nearly as bad in some of the games as people were making out. And there was a lot of people actually pointing a finger that he had chucked it and he wasn't trying anymore. And that goes a little bit beyond someone's just not having a good spell of form. So I think he was quite entitled to have a little nibble back. If it was aimed at the Celtic supporters who've been giving him abuse, and you know, I don't really have a problem with that.
It was interesting when Brendan came out and said about when he didn't drop him, it was a change of formation almost, because he was at Kilmarnock or St Johnstone were going zonal, so he protected him there from. Oh, well, I dropped him and then I brought him back in. He says, no, it was to do with zonal marketing. I like to have one guy running the wing backs and one sort of, you know, and Greg Taylor going inside and one being the runner, the AJ. So he's very good at that, Brendan, justifying dropping people, you know, without actually saying I've dropped you, you know.
It's a lot of smoke and mirrors when Brendan talks, but sometimes he's right to say that. I mean, that's the right thing to do, isn't it?
Of course.
So, Alpha saying Kuhn had a lobster to celebrate on Saturday. A lobster monster. Remember that, Brian?
No, what's
I
that?
don't remember that.
Lobster monster. Is that flipping Braggle Rock again? Is it?
No, it was a particular movie that we all watched when we were at school. I don't know. I won't go into it. Wasn't appropriate.
Lobster monster, never heard of it.
All right, Dano, you can talk us through this next moment here. Again, it starts with Sinisalo. Look where he is. 47 minutes playing the sweeper keeper.
Yeah.
And then I'll just walk you through these pictures. He plays it out to Hatate, who lays it off to Taylor, and then Taylor looks for Maeda. Look there. Maeda's on the run. Lifts a beautiful ball up and over. And then you take it from here.
Ida with just an amazing dummy, man. I mean, what a play. I mean, it was just so smart, just opened everything up, and it was just an easy score for Kuhn. Man. It was a brilliant goal, man. And Sinisalo, very brave. That first pass he played was brave, right in between a couple of Dundee defenders. It was an excellent sequence, man. Fantastic. All the way.
It was
around.
a bit of a blessing in disguise, wasn't it? That Schmeichel got injured and we're getting to see Sinisalo because Brendan didn't look like he was ever going to play him.
Yeah, I know.
He's going to really feel part of the team now, isn't he? These appearances. And he's looked really good. He's looked like a good player. He could be our long-term solution, our long-term number one, don't you think?
I mean, that's exactly what the purchase was designed as. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's looked great, man. He's looked really good. And that in particular was the start of just an amazing sequence in that game. So kudos to Sinisalo just for his overall play, let alone that, which was sparkling, man.
Not even getting a medal.
Yeah.
What's that you say, Brian?
Yeah, is that true? I thought they scrapped that.
You know, I was looking at it was Greg put it in the group chat that he's not going to get a medal.
Yeah, but I did think
he will.
I thought.
Yeah, I think he'll end up getting a medal. I think that rules. That's an old rule. And even if he doesn't, I'm sure Celtic would make a medal up for him, you know, and just for him to have one. But I'm pretty sure he'll get one. I don't think it's as strict as it used to be. But just talking about Sinisalo, he has been really good, and he looks the part. But you know, I will caveat that by saying that he hasn't really been tested much yet.
No.
Since he came into the team, we've played games on the front foot every time, and I think we'll find out a lot about him next weekend when he will have to. You will be under a bit of pressure over at the Snake Pit, and he will have to make a few saves, and he'll be under pressure, and they'll be fouling him at corners, and the ref will be looking the other way, and we'll see. You know, we'll know a lot more about him this time next week, I think. But so far, so good. And he certainly looks the part with the ball at his feet, which is a huge part of being a goalkeeper in the modern game.
Yeah, what do we think the rule is about getting medals? Because didn't the Japanese translator get medals? You know, I mean, how does he qualify for them if somebody who plays 7 games doesn't?
I think you have to play something like, I think it was something like 15 games or something, but I could be wrong about that, but that figure seems to be in my head. But Sinisalo has been on the bench almost every game. So, you know, I think that probably counts as being part of the matchday squad. So I'm pretty sure he's got enough appearances to get a medal. And I don't think he'll be going without one.
Yeah, I'm not making that up, am I? That translator does get medals somehow.
Yeah.
That is fucking awesome if that's true. That is amazing. I love that.
Become a translator, Donna.
I know,
That's
man. I gotta get off to my Korean courses again. I'm planning to this summer, but
yeah, compare. He's saying got a medal.
Yeah,
I don't know what the rules are.
So according to the AI on Google, you have to play 5 or more appearances in the league to get a medal. In which case, Sinisalo's already played enough. So,
and they don't know who's going to play in the rest of the games. So how can they announce it at this stage?
Yeah, exactly.
They got 4 games left, anyways. He's basically starting in every one. Whatever. I don't know.
So we think that's all a load of pish.
Pish.
Stephen, that was your opportunity. That was your opportunity, Stephen.
Pish.
Utter pish.
Yeah. Well, he blew his 6 shooters on Tedious, so.
Yeah.
All right, back
It's
to the game
tedious
then.
pish. Utterly tedious pish.
Tedious pish.
Tedium pish. That sounds like the thing you do after somebody cracks a joke.
That would be a great rock. That would be a great rock band name.
Tedium pish.
Tedium pish. Like a punk name.
All right. All right, 48 minutes then. Ida heads it down is the title of this one. Brian, do you want to take this goal?
Yeah, it was a great cross by AJ and just a great striker's goal. The head down, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just before there was typical Kuhn AJ combination that's worked so well all season. Then the cross comes in. And Big Adam then does what he's supposed to do. Wait, if you give him the service, Brian, right?
Yeah. So he was in the right place, right time, and the place that I would like Ida to be all the time is sort of sniffing around the box, said the Bishop to the actress. But just great, just a great type of old school goal. Just nodded down and into the back of the proverbial. But I say that no. Mondays are always difficult.
Oh dear, that's quite humorous.
I need a translator. Translate. Oh God Almighty.
Yeah, somebody in the drink along said he did. Oh my God, he did his best to miss that, which I thought was very disingenuous. He buried it, headed it down, did nothing wrong. Even when he scores, someone's there to say, "I didn't like the way he scored," or something.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah. Right.
He done everything right in that goal. He split the two defenders. Yeah. He's took up a really good position between the two of them. And he's just on the end of a magnificent cross from Alistair Johnson. Heads the ball down, as you're always told to. Gav, you're an old centre forward, aren't you? So you'll know they always tell you to head the ball down. And I think that's the type of goal that we expected Adam Ida to score a lot more of. And he hasn't really scored that many with his head. But that one was a really good, typical centre forwards goal.
That's him on 16 goals, isn't it? No,
17 goals.
17, 18. Yeah, because he had a brace, right?
Yeah, so that's some return for minutes on the pitch,
Yeah, man. Yeah, I really don't get the criticism of Ida. I mean, he has games where, his form isn't really up to speed, and he gets a lot of criticism that I think is just over the top, to be perfectly honest.
Well, I think we'd all like to see him get a good run and, just silence the critics by banging them in because he's perfectly capable. I don't know if we can have a little aside here. His goal, which is a sort of half-volleyed curler, among the goal of the season contenders. I can't remember who it was against, but it was like the third or fourth goal in a game. That's my favourite strike of them all, to be honest. Just the way he executes, that's absolutely glorious. I mean, anyone who can do that must be a brilliant footballer. Yeah. So I want to see him be a brilliant footballer more often. And do we have our own contenders for those goal of the season? Anyone stand out?
Kuhn in the Champions League, a curler off the post was unbelievable. I think, it'd be either that or Ida's goal that you were just talking about.
I think there was a couple in the Kilmarnock game last week. One from Cameron Carter-Vickers, which has got to be up there, and another one from Rio Hatate, all long range strikes. So I would say one of those two. I know I agree with Dano there. Kuhn's strike in the Champions League against, I think it was Leipzig. It was a fantastic goal, brilliant goal, and the fact it was on the Champions League stage probably gets it up those charts a little bit more.
Brian?
I love the Dyson Maida goal, one of many. He was on the left-hand side. He took it it was a bit of a long ball in, and he just took the pace out of the ball and dinked it over, sort of Henrik-esque.
Oh yeah, what was that, Dundee United?
Dundee,
Like
I
at
think it
home,
was.
at home. Yeah, that was a great goal, man.
And they're all great goals.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back to the most recent ones then. 57 minutes. Hatate to Calmac, who runs at them as per Brendan Rodgers' instructions. Stephen, is that something new we've seen or something we've seen more of this season from Cal McGregor? Like really running at players through the middle of the park?
Yeah, I think we have. I think certainly in the latter part of the season, I think he has been doing that. He's been getting up to support the front players, and especially when Adam Ida's playing, he seems to link up really well with Adam Ida. He gets on, when Adam Ida takes the ball in with his back to goal, it's generally Cal McGregor that's closest to him, looking for the layoff. We've scored a couple of goals recently off of that move, and he found them again here. But definitely, I think that's been an instruction from the manager, is to get forward a lot more, and he's perfectly capable of doing that. He played a lot of his career as an attacking midfielder, and actually started out as a winger, McGregor. So he's perfectly capable of playing that role.
Mm-hmm.
And then the shot from Aramida, Dano. Were you expecting him to score here?
Not. I mean, if you're looking at this like everybody is watching it on TV, you would think that Ida going to the near side of goal, the keeper would be able to stop it, but he placed it just right, man. Placed it just down into the corner. It's a great goal. I am surprised that the keeper didn't get to it. I think the keeper might have been kind of caught off balance or wrong-footed, like he was expecting it to go to his right as opposed to the near post. But yeah, amazing goal, man. I loved it.
I think he took a shot on early, which sort of unsettled the goalkeeper. I don't think the goalkeeper had his feet set. He was expecting he did take another touch, I think. And he took it early, and I think that's what caused the keeper the problem.
And that was it, wasn't it? That was the fifth goal. We covered them all.
Yeah. Ida came close towards the end to a hat trick. I remember seeing that, but that was about all the drama.
And I think they were trying to get a goal for Jamesy, weren't they? The players were trying to muscle up a shot for him or lay it on the plate.
Yeah, I've got a note here apropos of nothing, but I saw it and thought of you, Stephen. A couple of games ago, did you see the kill-winning Celts flag in the corner of one particular game?
Yeah, I did. I saw it. Yeah, I actually know those guys quite well. I actually have got a little badge here that's pretty much the same as the flag that they made. They're a very committed bunch of fans and a great bunch of guys. I used to go to the games with them when I lived at home, so got a little badge here. I'll show you. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Put it up to my camera a bit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, in a bit. Yeah, very good. So Kilwinning is your neck of the woods?
Yeah, that's the town I was born and raised in North Ayrshire. So, but it's a very Rangers dominated place. It's a bit of a bigoted hole, really. But the Celtic fans who come from there are quite a hardy bunch, and very, very committed. So, great. I always get a little bit of a kick when I see that flag at the games.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right. So Sinisalo, we've already talked about. Engels, we've talked about as well. Any other performances stand out to you, Dano, or you wanna discuss who else maybe did their cause no harm?
You're mute,
Oh,
Dano.
you're on mute, Dano.
Sorry, guys. I mean, the obvious candidates are Ida and Kuhn, but yeah, I mean, honestly, because I wasn't on the watch log, I only really saw the highlights. I saw like the extended highlights, not the full game.
Well, Taylor had a good game.
I mean, from the looks of it, I mean, he was part of the buildup of that great goal with the dummy from Ida, and Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, you win 5-0. It doesn't seem like anybody had a bad game. And
Yeah.
Shinesalo definitely gets more shouts, man, from me. He looked fabulous. I mean, he even stoned that one potential goal that would have been offsides anyways from United early in the game. So he was on it, man.
Yeah, he made one really good save, full stretch, which we haven't seen that much of him, as sort of Stephen mentioned earlier, being tested. But, he hasn't really let us down much at all, I would say. So 4 in a row, that is, gents. Do we prefer to think of it as 4 in a row? Do you cringe a bit when you see all the 55 everywhere? Is there a part of you that's like not fully on board with that whole thing just
I don't
because
like.
it's an agenda set
I
by
don't like
them?
the number
Or
55.
Hmm.
Don't like it.
Tell us why.
I just don't like number. I just don't like number 55. It's not very significant for me. But when I like 56 because that'll be a nice number. But I just don't like 55 at all.
Dano, are you American quickly?
Say what?
Is
I
Dano American? Asked Monty after all these months.
I'd say I'm about half Korean by now. I've been here damn near 20 years. So we're approaching like half my life. Yeah. I'm getting less American as every day that goes by. And every time I go back, it's more shocking than the last visit as far as the degeneration of one of the most dysfunctional societies on earth. So, yeah, I am still American. I still have an American passport, but I am drifting mentally. I have been for years.
Very good. Stephen, that 55 question, I can picture you saying that you don't buy into it, particularly it's an agenda set by them and, who cares? It's all about who wins the last trophy or what's that effect. Am I on the money?
Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't I'm not a big believer in this, the world's most successful club sort of thing. It was nonsense when they were spouting it for all those years, and it would be nonsense for us to say it now as well. Because I'm sure Real Madrid, with their 9 Champions League trophies, would consider themselves to be a little bit more successful than us. So it was nonsense then, and it's nonsense now. I think we're just having a little bit of fun at their expense at the moment. And I don't think there's I don't think it's not something the club will be really pushing. I don't believe. I mean, I know they've within, it always makes me laugh, within minutes of the full time whistle on the weekend there was a tweet from the Celtic shop, and it was shop the champions merchandise, and they've got the same t-shirts that the players had on out on the pitch, with the complete with Dafabet sponsorship all over them. Were for sale in the shop within 5 minutes of the full-time whistle going. So, and there wasn't any mention of 55 that I could see on any of that stuff. So I hope the club doesn't push it, but it's all right. I think it's all right to poke a little bit of fun at them.
Yeah, so every time you say it, it's understood that it's poking a little bit of fun at them rather than a genuine sort of joining in of that
we're not claiming anything really.
Yeah, well, we're claiming 4 in a row, that's for sure. And how far is it going to go? That's the question. I mean, is 5 in a row like a shoe-in?
I would say yes. And I've no worry about them.
5 is very doable. 5 is very doable, but it's never easy, man. It's never easy. Who knows? We'll see what happens with the 49ers miracle money.
Well, that's it. I mean, if that all goes the way they think it's going to go, and then there's a new manager, there's a new director of football, there's almost an entirely new set of players, the chances of them gelling together instantly and being able to topple Celtic is minimal, you would have to say. So 5 in a row is looking pretty good. And then you hear people saying, when Brendan sees 5 in a row, he's going to start thinking to himself, wonder how many I can make this, because he did bugger off at a time when at a time when 10 in a row was on the horizon. And, does anyone else buy into that once he sees 5 in a row? Will he sail off into the sunset as a hero, or will he sort of have a little double take?
I think he'll go. I think next season's his last. And I don't knock him for it, and hear me out on this, because he mentioned a couple of times about it being intense and being a full-on job, and it's not like managing Leicester or Villa, or you just can't lose. You have to, and that eventually that'll take its toll on you as a Celtic manager, unless you're Willie Mealy, who was there for 30 years plus. But the fact that I don't know, he came out with a very valid point there. He says, nobody really knows me, and I don't have many friends, but that to me.
You say I don't have many friends?
Didn't he say something along the lines of, there's not too many people that I'm friendly with?
Yeah.
And there's not too many people who know my business. So for all these ones to turn around and say, oh, Brennan's doing this and Brennan's doing that, where's that come from? So
I think Rodgers will keep his cards close to his chest.
Yeah.
I don't think he's decided yet whether he's going to stay beyond next year or not. And I think the only fly in the ointment about whether he'll stay or not, I think, is the Celtic board. I noticed that his post-match, he name-checked Dermot Desmond. He didn't name-check anybody else, though. He didn't name-check Michael Nicholson, and he didn't name-check Peter Law. So I still think there's a little bit of tension behind the scenes there, and I think that was probably Brendan calling them out by saying, "Well, I'm here, Brendan. Desmond. I'm Desmond's man, and he's the man that pulls the strings, basically." So a lot of it will depend. I mean, you wouldn't. If I was Brendan Rodgers, I wouldn't commit myself long term at Celtic until I knew that their ambitions were going to match mine. Because, if people are saying the league winning trebles and league titles just now is tedious, what's it going to be like when we get to 7 or 8 in a row? It'll be even worse. And I don't think Rodgers would hang around for that. And he wants to see genuine progression on the European stage. And to do that, there needs to be a plan from the club, from the board, to provide him with what he needs. To keep the club moving forward. So I think he'll keep his cards close to his chest. I think we'll go into next season without really knowing if he's going to stay or not. And a lot of it will depend on how we perform in the transfer window.
Thanks, Monty. Always there to correct me. Not that I ever need corrected. But I agree with you, Stephen. I think he'd play his cards close to his chest, and definitely needs a couple of players in centre half, centre forward, maybe a winger or two, and then somebody to replace Calmack eventually. But KT's coming back next season, and if we get a couple of blue chip players in, a green chip, I don't want to say blue, but you never know. Another favourable draw on the Champions League.
Hilarious. It's like the guy in the Rangers review who keeps getting into trouble for talking about green shoots of recovery. And then they go comment. You can't say that. It's blue shoots. Blue shoots of recovery.
Blue shoots and green shoots.
I think the Kieran Tierney signing's been low-key, very low-key up to now. And I think a lot of people are forgetting or certainly underestimating how good a player we're getting. And Kieran Tierney, I mean, this guy's an absolute quality player. Yeah. And if he hadn't played for us before and we were getting a player of Kieran Tierney's profile, it'd be hailed as the biggest signing in Scottish football history. And bringing Tierney back is going to be massive next year. I think he'll make such a difference to the team.
Oh, man. And I mean, he's obviously added quality to his game playing the kind of competition he's been playing down there and around the world. So, I mean, he's going to be that much better. I mean, the injuries are a question, but it's going to be phenomenal having him at left back. Phenomenal. Yeah, if he can stay healthy. That's always the caveat with anything, but.
Yeah, I think what's happening to him just now is the perfect preparation for next season. He is playing, but he's not playing in a regular schedule or anything. He's playing like 15, 20 minutes here and there. And he's also playing at quite a high level. He's playing in the English Premier League and he's playing in the Champions League. So he's getting minutes in both these competitions. And he could conceivably come up the road with a Champions League winners medal in his pocket. So, we're getting a player at the very top of his game, at the very peak of his career. So I'm really excited to see what Tierney brings to the team next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that Europa Cup. No, that's not what you were talking about. But the Europa League semi-final teams are pretty interesting, aren't they? Tottenham, Man U, Bodo Glimt, and Bilbao. Is that the other one? Yeah.
Athletic Club, yeah.
Yeah.
Bodo Glimt, man.
I mean, that's amazing. Like the thought of Big Ange possibly lifting the Europa League in his second year and being proven right. He always wins something in year two, and then off he goes.
Yeah, and then getting fired right after he lifts the trophy. That would be pretty remarkable.
Or walking off into the sunset saying, "I'm not going to take this shit anymore. This is a basket case of a club."
Right.
Yeah,
But,
I can only see Bilbao winning that tournament because the finals at their home stadium, and I wasn't massively impressed with them against the Huns, but I think the fact that it's at home, and they know if they win their semi-final, that's the prize that's waiting for them. So I think they'll probably get over the line. And none of the other three teams are any great shakes. Bodo Glimt might surprise a few people. They certainly surprised us a few years ago. So they are a good team with a good European pedigree, but I expect Bilbao to go and finish that job.
it's mental that it's in their stadium. You think that's too big an advantage that they would change it or something? But I suppose once it's set in stone, that's it. Isn't there talk that if Bilbao win, that helps TRFC with their Champions League qualifications next year?
Something to do with seeding, is it? No.
They have to play one less game. They effectively have the same as us, one game to get in. If Bilbao win.
I don't think that's true. No, I think they've got several qualifying rounds to play next year. Next year they've got at least two. I think possibly even three. I need to look into that. You maybe need to get a hold of your pal Gavin, the Scotland's coefficient boy. He'd have all the info on that.
He's hard to get hold of now.
Yeah, he's gone all Substack. He's charging for content now. Yeah, and I don't know about him. There's a whiff of honery about him, I have to say. I mean, enjoyed
just because he's called Gavin.
Yeah, that's it. That's the old Gavs and all hands. Yeah. It was good having him on here, and it was a good show. But I don't know, just following some of the tweets recently.
I find him decent.
I've got a very sensitive.
I'm not cursed with the same Hundar that you are.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I've got a very sensitive Hundar, and it started going off a bit when he's around Twitter.
Rise above, Stephen. Rise above. All right.
Why would I do that? Why would I want to do that?
We're almost up to the hour. A whiff of Hunduggery, says who's the snitch.
Hunduggery.
Hunduggery. Maybe.
Well, that's a different category.
Well, we're almost done.
That's a different category of crime.
I've got one little thing to share. We don't really do Celtic social media anymore. I don't ask people to give me their bits and pieces. Nobody sends me their bits and pieces. Here's a good thing I saw. What, this week?
Yeah, I sent you it earlier on WhatsApp. If you want one from me.
Oh. What, but anyway. With you in it?
No.
Oh, I thought that's what you were saying to me.
No,
I thought this was fun.
Are you sending that Gab nudes again, Dano?
Yeah, well, yeah. I sent Gav lots of dick pics, man. I mean,
all of X-Man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yes. Especially after a grooming.
No, it's not a Celtic wordle. Somebody says it's just a little clip here that I found amusing, so I'm going to play it.
Oh yeah.
Volume off. Did you see that? One wee guy gets trapped underneath.
Yeah.
It's funny, and the rest of them just keep on going.
There are so
That would be a nightmare. I would hate that. I would hate that.
Watch the guy they circle there. See in the red circle.
he just
He
falls
goes on
and
his
they just
hoop.
keep going. Yeah. It's like if you
Yeah.
fall off a boat in a convoy or something. The convoy's not going to stop and pick you up, man. You're gone. You're just
Gotta
gone.
say that's pretty amusing.
That is a good series of videos to watch, like tarp mishaps during rainy weather in a baseball game when they're pulling the tarp out. Sometimes it's windy, the whole thing parachutes and flies away. It's amazing, man. That's a whole galaxy of funny stuff, man. Yeah.
Look at Mahesh here coming in with "I told you so." And Spurs is entirely predictable. His algorithm predicted 19 losses for them in the league. They're at 18. Wow.
I think we're going to have to go back and fact check that from Mahesh there. I think he's just blowing his own horn a little bit there. You know, can any of you remember that from him?
Did we really
the
talk
evidence?
about it? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
We need the evidence.
Where are the public chats where this was said? Yeah.
Somebody used to say to me, he spends all his time blowing his own trumpet, and if he's not blowing his own trumpet, he's blowing someone else's. But that's not someone else.
All right. Well, that's just about all we have time for, you guys. On that bombshell, we will we'll wrap it up and let you go from the pub to the wine bar, as somebody suggested. That's what it's like going from a Celtic world to Axom. We're the pub, they're the wine bar. Well, you have more crack in the pub. I think you'll agree.
Well, no,
Of course.
Absolutely.
The pub any day of the week. Every
Any
day,
day, man. Wine bar's
Nothing but respect for Axom, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Big love.
All right, lads. Enjoyed it, champions. We'll see you back again on Thursday. Pick it up where we left off. So enjoy the moment. Champions again, 4 in a row. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Ole, ole.